Welcome back to another episode of Opinionated Facts. I'm your host Drizzle, and today we got a very special guest in the building. My dog's James Tyler Mays. If y'all been watching the videos for the past 5, 6 years, y'all seen fifth quarter digital at the beginning of every single video. This is the future and the leader of digital marketing, and I appreciate you being on the show, bro. How you doing?
Man, I'm blessed, man. Happy to be here. Thanks, Drizzle, man. Thank you for having me on the show. Been about 4 years. Last time I've been on the platform, but you've already know, man. You've been there since the inception. Ever since fifth quarter was on a napkin, back in 2018, and so just starting to see stuff come into fruition. Things happen in life. You go take different routes. Do different things, and so I'm just now kind of retiring out of politics over the last 10 years. And so I had the time and space now to, focus more on my dreams and my vision with Fifth Quarter Digital, which is a digital marketing agency, which right now we focus primarily on small, medium-sized business, as well as doing like event marketing for different brands, as well as if any individuals need any help with their branding or marketing, we're pretty much full service with an emphasis on, AI tools that are human assisted to, accelerate the pace.
Right.
So,
Okay. So what made you want to? Because I know you have a political background. Like you've
mhm.
done a lot of different campaigns in different states and different cities and different parties and different political figures or whatnot. But what made you kind of want to get into the digital marketing lane? Was it, like I said, was it because you were already kind of working on it in that space, or it was a passion that you always had?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a little bit all the above. Me just growing up being like a creative individual, and then also just kind of having like a calling to serve and like help others. So this is kind of like a perfect blend of that where I get to apply my creativity to help individuals and help brands and businesses. So it's kind of like a mix of both worlds. As I alluded to in the beginning, I was working in politics. I was a political consultant for about 10 years, worked in nonprofit organization for the last 4 years. And I've been fortunate, I've been in about 20 different markets up and down the East Coast, Deep South, Midwest, things like that. Just doing different types of grassroots sort of efforts. And so, I met a lot of people, on the road, and I picked up a lot of skills along the way as well that I'm definitely thankful for. And so really now in this position in 2025, fifth quarter, it's just a combination, of all my life experience, just growing up being a creator, being an entrepreneur, having my own clothing brand, serving as creative director with other people's brands, being a freelance marketer, also being a event producer, produce a event at the KFC Yum Center. And so, it's really just a combination of all those skills that are coming together to make, fifth quarter digital what it is. So, yeah, happy to be here.
Okay. So pretty much basically everything that you were doing in the past has led up to this.
Yeah, it's always been the vision because,
Yeah.
like I said, man, it's been something since 2018.
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to kind of get into more of a marketing space. At the time, I was really kind of stretching myself thin, really trying to do too much, but also at the same time, as an entrepreneur, you're exploring, you're seeing what works and what doesn't work. But from my own personal capacity, I was just really trying to wear too many hats. And, fast forward 7 years later, we have AI tools now. And so essentially, you can be a one-man band and, do a lot of things with these AI tools and these different bots and agents that you can deploy and essentially like automate your process. And so that's one thing that I'm fortunate about right now. It's just kind of like the tech space that we're in, but also making sure that it's human forward. I don't want to get lost in the sauce, being codependent on AI. I grew up being a creative, different types of mediums. I was on Photoshop, before Canva,
Yeah.
sort of thing. And so as a graphic designer, and as a creative, always keeping that eye, and not letting things go too wayward, with the AI assistance.
Right.
So
Now
that's kind of where I'm at with it.
that's a good segue to a future question I had. So since we're already on the topic of
Hmm.
I do want to stay there because personally, I had different views and opinions of AI early on. Like my whole
Hmm.
thing was like, man, I ain't messing with that Ultron shit, man. That's they trying to take over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like just vaguely like joking, but a part of me I was like, yeah, I don't want to become like you said codependent on it, right?
Hmm.
But then I think me and you had a couple conversations like a month or two, or probably like 2 or 3 months ago. You
Yeah.
had a conversation. You was like, don't necessarily treat it as it's a one stop, do it all type of thing, but like treat it as if you're like an assistant. Treat it as if it's there to help you. Like, don't be afraid of getting information or getting some type of maybe a system and you adding your own spin on the system, but it's going to give you a
Hmm.
base, like a concept. Like, hey, if you follow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Hmm.
it can lead to step 6. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you kind of explain it that way, I said, okay, let me revisit. And I myself started using AI for certain things. I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
I see what he was talking. I see what he was meant. Definitely don't want to become codependent on it, but also if you're something that you're not good at, like maybe making a logo or
Hmm.
maybe pinpointing the specific points of a video that would work on social media. Yeah, ask AI, hey, which talking point on this 6 minute video is probably the best talking point?
Hmm.
It's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's no different from you asking your friend who
Yeah.
might know more about basketball than you, hey, what play did they run during the fourth quarter that was the most effective? It's
Hmm.
the same thing. It just happens that this happens to be a tool versus being a person. So I want to know, I guess, what's your favorite thing about AI,
Hmm.
but also what is the thing that you hate? I don't want to say hate.
Yeah.
Hate's a strong word, but what's the thing that you like least about AI currently?
Yeah, 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 definitely. You kind of hit on it. Like my favorite thing about it, honestly, is just kind of you can use it. It's essentially a mirror, of the user. Whatever you input, is going to be output based on what you put into it. And so, using it as a mirror for reflection, whether that be personal, business, whatever the case may be, it helps you to unlock new questions. It helps you to answer things that you didn't think about before. My bad, I got my portfolio playing right here. Let me mute my computer. Um, but yeah, it helps you to, see things at a different perspective. And that's one thing that I appreciate about it. It's just being able to find different answers to the questions and even sometimes finding questions that you wouldn't even have thought about to begin with. So just prompting it in the proper direction to get the answers that you seek is one of the positives that I see about it. It helps accelerate, creative output for me personally. I've been able to, especially, as a creative person, you have all these thoughts and all these ideas, but there's only a X amount of hours within a day. And sometimes you may hit these blockages, and it's hard to put out your ideas for whatever reason. And so I found this as the AI has been able to help me put out my creative visions, more rapidly. But one thing that I fear is just the age of like the misinformation that we live in. And this is something that I even preached way before, AI, AI has already always been around, but before it's become more mainstream, more accessible to just regular consumers. Being conscious of the media that you consume, media literacy, I feel like it's something that needs to be taught in schools, or at least taught in homes. So, a lot of these videos nowadays, sometimes they even tricking me. If it wasn't for some of the little watermarks on some of the
Yeah,
little
that
videos,
would get you.
you kind of take pause for a second, and I don't think it should be like that. You should be able to know if this is something that's,
Identify.
real versus something that was, computer generated. Um, and so, that's the crossroad that where I'm at with it, and I feel like that's where as society we're gonna wrestle with it, for the next I feel like about the next 5 years, stuff is still relatively new to us, but things have changed at a rapid pace too. I remember when I first got on Chat GPT in 2022 and seeing where it's at now, it's like wow. So and not only that, just the plethora of large language models that are out there as well. I haven't even got a chance to play with all of them yet. So yeah, so that's the scary part. And then also in terms of like something that I'm really afraid of, it's just the emergence of, humans and the technology. They're talking about Neuralink, talking about trying to put chips in us,
Hmm.
things like that. That's where I definitely cross the line as someone that loves technology, grew up in the technology, but whenever I feel like trying to play God of sort, that's where I'm like, hold on, we need to pause it.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree because there are people. I think there's a fine line. Like it's a, I got a saying where it's a thin line between ribs and steak. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like, and it's like, what are you talking about? But if you think about it, on you can say cow, whatever, or there's literally it's a thin line between where your ribs are, where the cow ribs are,
Hmm.
and where a cut of steak is. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And I think that's how it is. You kind of got to look at the AI situation. Like it's a thin line where it can be too much, right?
Hmm.
Like you said, you see some videos and you're like, was that real? You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like, and I'm generally good at pinpointing fake, fake, fake.
Hmm.
I think in like the last week, I might have got caught twice where I watched something. I said, damn, and I said, hold on. No. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, no. Like, and I had to rewatch it. I'm like, it's fake. But you read the comments. You read the comments,
Hmm.
especially on Facebook. But if you read if you read
Yeah.
the comments, they believe it's real.
Hmm.
And they're like you said, the misinformation of like I remember years ago where it was a meme, and it's still memes still get people to this day.
Yeah.
Or there's a meme of it could say somebody said something, and they're just like, oh my god, that person's such a, and you're like, bro, they never said that.
Yeah.
The media outlet that they put on there that they said it isn't even a real like.
Hmm.
Some stuff is easily fact checkable if you put forth a half a millisecond of trying to see what's real or not,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the average person does not.
Mm-mm.
And what I've been doing now, if I come across a video or I've come across a certain picture that I believe is fake, I'll throw it in AI and say, is this real?
Yeah.
And it will fact check and say, this is in fact not real. This
Yeah.
person never said this. Oh, this person said XYZ
Yeah.
about that similar situation, but they never worded it that way. So
Yeah.
I'm like, that's where it's a tool where like it can
Hmm.
help, it can benefit. And I think that's the good of it. But the bad of it is, I watched a video where Charles Barkley was doing an interview, and within the first 40 seconds, it changed from him actually talking to AI,
Mm.
and people were believing
Yeah.
he actually said the last 2 minutes. The
Yeah.
last, I've seen the actual interview,
Yeah.
he didn't say that,
Yeah.
but the common average person probably never seen the interview.
Hmm.
They don't care or know what was really
Yeah.
said. They think the interview was done today and it was 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and they're just gonna assume, well, if I don't like Charles Barkley, that's what he said. I don't even
Hmm.
care. You know what I'm saying? They're not even thinking to go fact check. Like I
Yeah.
saw the video, it has to be real. Like I seen the meme. It was on the meme. It's real, right?
Yeah.
It's accurate. Like no, that's a lie. But I think that's the good side of it is that yeah, we can still kind of use AI to kind of combat some of the BS that's coming out. But like I agree,
Hmm.
there is a certain level you're like, bro, that's like at what point we're gonna get to the point to where we're really not going to be able to know what's real or what's fake. You know what I
No.
mean? And I
Yeah.
think I think eventually there will be a law that will come out to say, hey, if it's AI, just like if you make a video on like put it on YouTube or you
Hmm.
put it on TikTok, TikTok would generally identify, oh, this is AI,
Yeah.
and they'll have a disclaimer. YouTube, you have to notate if it's
Hmm.
AI or not. You know what I mean? Because that's the only way to really kind of crack down on
Yeah.
some of this shit because it gets to the point to where, like you say, it blurs the lines and like you don't know.
Yeah.
Like I've seen the one thing I do say that I do think is cool. They've been AI editing like old school basketball highlights and
Yeah.
putting it in like 4K, so it looks like really, really good. It's the
Yeah.
real highlights. It's
Yeah.
just that it's been altered and it's so it just looks more
Yeah.
recent. You know
Okay.
what
I
I'm saying?
haven't
So
seen
stuff
that
like
yet.
that I'm okay with
Yeah.
because that's still actual real footage. It's
Yeah.
just
Enhanced
enhanced.
to a degree.
But if you make a video of something that didn't happen,
Yeah.
that's where it gets like, okay, that's a little wonky.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
feel like we're already at that line. Like
yeah, we're
we're
there. We're
yeah.
there. Like I've seen like it's an AI race war going on. You got people making videos about black people making
Mm-hmm.
videos about white people making videos about Spanish people. Like
Oh,
it's
for
just,
real. I'm
bro,
glad
it's
I'm
just,
not
but
on that side of the
it's
internet.
all just like racist
Yeah.
tropes, and it's like
Yeah.
it's you know what I'm saying, and like
Yeah.
everybody's doing it against everybody. Like, and who knows? It might be a black dude doing it for the black people. It might be the
Yeah.
white. Like, you never know who's
Yeah.
making these videos, but all these videos are coming out, and it's like, bro, they're not even funny. But like, you can, me, I'm pretty good at kind of pinpointing
Mm-hmm.
when something. Either I could tell by the voice. The
Yeah.
video is a little bit too crisp. Like, it looks
Yeah.
too clear. Like, it looks
Yeah.
real, but it looks like there's no blemishes. There's no like
Yeah.
nuances. Like the sky is just perfect. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
sometimes it can get you. It can, and I'm a victim of watching the video and thinking, I don't know, that might be real.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? So, no, definitely good to know your perspective on it. Because, like I said, I know you're a supporter of AI as a tool, but I know you're also, like you said, you don't want it to get to the point to where like you playing God, and it's
Yeah,
like
I mean
that's not a
everything.
thing.
I mean, if you just look at humanity, like a lot of the things that we got, they start off as good and then they get, perverted. And that's just human nature.
Yeah, yeah. It usually falls in the hands of the wrong person or the wrong
Mm-hmm.
people, and the wrong usually outshines the good that's going with it.
Mm-hmm.
So like how me and you spoke about using it as a mirror, using it as an assistant. That won't be spoken about more so than these videos and these pictures and
Yeah,
this
like.
misinformation that's coming out because that's gonna generate the most
Mm-hmm.
like entertainment or engagement. But it's like, bro, like I understand you have a pause for AI, but there is a good side of AI as well.
Yeah, like some good that I've used it for example, would be like children's books. Like I published two at this point, and then also using it with my kids as well to make cartoon characters for them. You know what I'm saying? And we can make our own custom book. So if you need a custom book, fifthquarterdigital.com, we got you. We're in the publishing space now, so just holler at us and we'll make your vision come to life. We're creative storytellers over here. So that's one example right there. Also in the realm of storytelling with children, with ChatGPT Plus, when you have the voice on, like having it tell a story for your child, and then it's interactive as well. It's kind of like a choose your own adventure book because it'll ask them a question, be like, what do you think happens next? And so I've used it that way to be interactive. I know some people may have cause or cause, especially when it comes to like the mic, things like that. But honestly, I don't believe in privacy anymore. We got all these devices, microphones are always on. I mean, we
Cameras
always joke about, talking about something and then seeing an ad
on the
on
phone.
Facebook, but that's just all, it's just confirming what we already know. So I don't know why we just openly joke about it, but we don't really move or operate in that with intention in our daily, just kind of knowing that in the back of our mind. So yeah, but I think there's a lot of good that's gonna come out of it, and so that's part of the reason why I'm here too, is just kind of to combat some of that negativity, spread light, on the globe.
Okay. All right. Now let's speak about as far as kind of want to get off AI, but the algorithm, like
Yeah.
social media in itself, like I know me and you joked a while ago about the algorithm being like it's the feed, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like you got to feed the beast. Like
Hmm.
it's Galactus, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
it's all consuming.
it has to eat, and
Hmm.
if you don't feed it, it will treat you like you ain't been feeding it, right? But if you feed it, it'll start to treat you well at some point.
Yeah.
What I would say what is over the past few years or since you've been doing fifth quarter digital, say like what
Yeah.
has been like the main thing that you've noticed about the algorithm and what is the necessarily the misconception that a lot of people who maybe want to or
Yeah.
have tried to do some form of content or digital marketing themselves that they usually fall into not understanding how the algorithm actually works.
Yeah, well, the thing to know about it that it's just kind of constantly like evolving and changing. I've been studying social media marketing since college, University of Louisville. Shout out to Professor Freeberg. You know, she really put me on game in her comm class and would have industry professionals come in physically into the classroom, be guest speakers, and then also tap in via Zoom. So, been studying the space for a while. I would say the biggest um, hang up that people have when they're just starting is starting. I think, you just got to begin. And I think, people get caught up in trying to be too perfect or try to see what's on trend and try to emulate somebody else's success with the hopes of going viral, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think what's really going to resonate and what's really going to be of your best interest and also to your audience or to your tribe's best interest is just using your own authentic voice, just starting. And that's something that me personally, I should start to tap into with my own personal branding this summer. Just start producing my own like short form content. And I really just got into producer mode. Like I'm gonna just stop consuming as much content and like let me just produce. Cause like even with my company, that I registered in May, we just had our 5 month anniversary. Uh, it got to a point where I had to stop studying, right? And stop being a student and then just started producing or becoming a teacher of sort and establishing my authority in the space. And so I consume a lot of YouTube videos, podcasts, and it got to a point over the summer where I just stopped it. I just had to cut out that noise and I sat in silence, and then once I sat in that silence, then that's when I got more clarity on the direction that I needed to go. And once I got that clarity, I just started getting into producer mode and just start producing reels, taking more photos, just posting more content in general. And it put me in a really good space. And, seeing the fruits of my labor start to pay off, whether it's a referral, whether it's me getting an extended reach. As far as that algorithm goes, I've been able to have more of my content show in the feed versus only to my followers. So you just got to start, man. Just start producing the content, use your authentic voice, be yourself. And it's always going to evolve and it's always going to change. Like one of my favorite mentors in the space is Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V. But his philosophy of where we're at right now is just like interest-based marketing. So it's whatever you're interested in, just put that out into the world, and the people that are interested in it, they're going to find you. You're going to attract them. Stop trying to chase things. Just attract and get in alignment with what you want in life. And I feel like that's the issue with a lot of people when they're first starting because they don't have that voice yet.
Mm.
They're trying to figure out their voice, and so they're looking at others to see how they did it, and they're just trying to emulate them. But I say, just cut out the noise, sit in silence, and that's when you find that moment of clarity, and then just start producing.
Okay. Okay. Now, what is I know you got some things going on. What are some of the current projects that you're working on with Fifth Quarter Digital and what is I mean we're at the end of the year. So I want to ask you what is your overall goal? I say
Mm.
within the next 6 to 8 months.
Okay, yeah, definitely. So yeah, right now it's kind of all about new beginnings. Just kind of relocated right now. So I was in Louisiana. That's my first time back in Kentucky since about 2020, so about 5 years. Um, I was in
Longer than that.
I mean, I've been on the road. I've been on the road since 2018, but I
Right.
was based in Kentucky during that
It
time.
started with you on the road and you never came
I
back.
didn't, yeah. I didn't come back for a while. So yeah, this is my first time back home in Kentucky. So, we'll say 7 years.
Yeah, it's been about, yeah.
7 years. And so yeah, I moved to Baton Rouge for a year. I was in Atlanta for two. Then I moved back to Louisiana for almost 2 years, and now I'm in Kentucky. And so I actually started my business down in Louisiana. And so I'm in the transition phase right now. And so I still have clients in Louisiana right now. I have a client, Light Up the Night. It's an all white affair, picnic, take place outdoors, out on the bayou. They have live entertainment, Sean Ward experience, pretty dope. He's one part of the DJ versus the violinist. They play, contemporary music. He's playing the violin. People out there just vibing. So I'm marketing that right now. Got other couple of clients, but we're open for business. So located in the central Kentucky area, but we serve clients nationwide. We travel, man, we're global. So fifthquarterdigital.com for any of your digital marketing needs or event marketing activations. Um, I got years of experience too as a brand ambassador. I failed to mention that, but I worked under brands such as Sony, Dyson, Amazon, the Navy, State Farm, doing live activations with them as well. So that's ingrained into the fabric of the company. So fifthquarterdigital.com for any of your marketing needs. Shameless plug. I think that's probably like my second or third plug during this interview. So
Hey, nothing wrong with
chop it up
that.
however you need.
Yeah, no, that's what it's for. Now, besides fifth quarter, because I know fifth, you've done a
Hmm.
lot of things. Speak about some past ventures that you've been a part of, and some past
Yeah.
ventures that you kind of worked on, but you say, you know what, I'm a pivot from this because I really want to, delve into this.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'll start with my baby, man, Kim Folk. Shout out to your platform as well, SSD TV Network, man, because you used to run promotions for Kim Folk, back in the day. That's my baby, man, my very first business. Um, it was a clothing brand. It is a clothing brand still, but I feel like it's more of just kind of like a lifestyle uh, or a heritage brand at this point. I dropped it in capsules or different seasons, like over a span of years. And that was my first deep dive, or that was my first go around as like an entrepreneur. But it was really more of me just being a creator, just trying to. I felt like I treated it more like a hobby than I did a business in the beginning. Just put it like that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like whenever I felt inspiration. I would create a collection. So I would go out and get the raw materials. I'll get the fabric from like Michael's or Hobby Lobby, different craft stores, something like that. And then I found a manufacturer in Philly. I'll send them the raw goods, and they would craft the handmade 5 panels. So that was my first business. My first baby, and I still have future plans for Kinfolk in due time, in the right time, in the right space. But all of my collections, all of my capsules, told a story. With the very first one being Derby Days, inspired by the Kentucky Derby. The 5 panel caps being named after different family members, different historical figures in the equestrian space. So that was dope. So yeah, I got future plans for Kinfolk. I don't really want to speak on that. And then from there, did some freelance marketing, designing websites during college. So I know I don't know how many sites I've done designed at this point, but most of them have been, they're all dead and gone at this point. But designing websites, helping people market their brands, I was a creative director for another brand during my undergrad. So I was able to do t-shirt, hat designs for them. We opened up a store in Paducah, Kentucky, put up a billboard, things like that. What else? Let's see. Gym and Smoothie. Back in 2020, I got inspired to have a health and fitness brand. I still got some stuff tucked away, man. I'm gonna put out on clearance here soon. So Gym and Smoothie was a fashion brand that was on par, still is on par with like Gymshark, Nike, things like that. What else? What else we done did? While I was in Louisiana, I built a black-owned business directory called Black Bayou. There's about 50 businesses in that directory right now, as we speak. So, I still have my ties to Louisiana, still have family down there, so that's never gonna fade away. And I'll be at the Pelicans games this year too, so catch me courtside. Um, what else? Produced a music festival at the Yum Center. Man, we gonna say that. We can do a whole episode about that festival. Dre was involved with that, so he already knows what's up with
Good
that.
times.
So
Good times.
you know,
You did too.
yeah, the first year I did social media marketing for him, and then
Yeah.
the second year I was an associate producer. So
Right.
I was a little bit more involved during that second year. So the Isley brothers, they were the first talent that I ever booked. So it's around here somewhere. I don't have it up on the wall, put it away. But I got my first like voided check from whenever I wrote a check to sign the Isley brothers to come perform. So that was a core memory right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so done a lot, and then also with my, I told you already, done the political consulting work, been in all types of different places, met all types of different people, and I'm gonna see some of those people again, especially in terms of fifth quarter. I met a lot of creative people on the road as well, so I was just looking forward to, reconnecting with some of those people and, building out the brand. It's still young, but it's like when you have like when you have like insight and you have like vision, it's like you already know, like you already feel it before the world get to see it, sort of thing. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Like I know it's here. It's just, y'all gotta just sit back and watch now at this point.
Okay. Okay. Now, I feel like I asked the question, but I think I want to delve just a little bit more into it. Like what, or maybe ask it a different way because I asked you what you see for the company within the next 6 to 8 months, but what would you say the overall mission statement of
Yeah.
Fifth Quarter Digital is?
Man, right now, like we are digital architects for sovereign brands. And so it's really about tapping in with people, brands, and showcasing their authentic self, and connecting them with brand ambassadors or consumers, that are going to advocate, for that brand. And so it's about establishing like domain, kind of like in this digital era that we're in. And so, that's what we build out. We provide you with the strategies, we provide you with insight, we provide you with creative, and we have the capabilities of executing that. And so it's kind of what we stand for, at this moment in time, digital architects for sovereign brands. So, catering to small, medium-sized business, but we have plans of expanding and going global.
Now, and I was going to ask that as well. In the midst of going global, because I know you said that you're kind of in the space of, or you always been in the space of, I guess you say customer service in a sense,
Shoot,
but
excuse me.
I want to say like customer service in a
Hmm.
sense, and but kind of like you said, like the smaller companies, the smaller
Yeah.
brands, the ones that kind of like if they just had a little bit of guidance, it would help them
Hmm.
so much. If they just had a little bit of help, it would help them so much. And you're willing to do that, but like you said, you want to go global.
Yeah.
But in the midst of going global, generally the littler guys get left behind.
Yeah.
In the I know currently things can change, but currently is your goal to always be like, yeah, we want to reach it to the pinnacle of where we can be, but we also want to always never forget the beginning or why we started this, and that's
Yeah.
helping the people who need the help, right? Like,
Hmm.
is that one of the things where you're kind of like finding balance of like making sure that you don't forget that in the midst of this?
Yeah, that's something that I've thought about and something that I wrestled with and actually had a thought partner, discuss it with me a few weeks ago. Um, right now, we're definitely going to continue to cater to like the small, medium businesses, but in that sense, because we have a tagline, local to legendary.
Mm,
Um, and in that sense, we don't want to forget about, where we came from or the smaller people, as you would say, that, help us get to where we're at. And so I feel like I don't know what it may look like at this current time, but, we're able to put in systems in place to make sure that while we scale, we're able to cater, to our base as well as to be able to extend beyond that. And so if that makes sense, we're going to grow. It's just me right now, but even having a second individual, our intern, actually have an intern about to onboard soon, just having a second human with the AI acceleration, will help grow the company like tenfold, right now. But you have to find, a certain type of individual. You have to make sure that the person is in alignment with you, not only in business, but also personally. Because when you are going into business with an individual, you're establishing a relationship with that person that goes beyond the business. If are truly trying to nurture the business and you want to see it done the right way. And that's one thing I appreciate you, as a friend and also someone that I've witnessed do business. That's why we're in this room together right now after, hell, how many years? I don't even know what year I met you, maybe like 2011
11,
type.
12, yeah,
So,
about 11, 12, somewhere around there.
yeah,
So,
so it's going on what 15 years,
yeah,
of friendship,
yeah.
of relationship with each other, and we know each other beyond business, at this point, and so that's where I'm at with it, with the company. I've always, been a one man band, and I feel like that was kind of my shortcomings in the past, is trying to do too many things or trying to wear too many hats as an individual. But that's the beautiful thing about AI now, is that you can wear those hats and deploy AI agents and automate systems and process now relatively easy.
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, look, bro, you got any shout outs?
Uh, Shout out, man. I just want to shout out my kids, shout out my son Crew, shout out Xavier, shout out Tyler. I love y'all. Do this for y'all. That's about it, man. Shout out Guy, big man upstairs, man. Shout out to Source. Shout out to anyone that's walking in their divine purpose right now. Any creatives out there that want to collab, any businesses out there that want to partner, you can apply for partnership, fifthquarterdigital.com. So just tap in.
All right, bro. Well, look, I appreciate you for letting me pull up, bro. Like I said, I'm a part of it. I've seen it. I'm in it. You know what I'm saying? I'm with it. Uh, I'm excited to see what's gonna go on down the line. Like I said, the next 6 to 8 months. You know what I'm saying? Glad to have you back. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And then people don't know. People don't know. Like, look, people don't know. Before I get off, I always tell brothers the original plan for the show was for me and him. If y'all go back to the beginnings of Opinionated Facts, the very first 2 to 3, I think it's the first three.
Yeah.
The third episode, you were on the webcam, I believe. and you were just talking. You was always just talking, but you
Yeah.
you weren't actually in the room with me. The very first two episodes, you were in the room with me. You were the ones asking me the questions, and
Hmm.
it wasn't gonna be an interview based show.
Oh
It
yeah.
was a me in front of the
Yeah.
camera, and you were gonna be the one. You were like a moderator.
Yeah.
Hey, this is our topic. What
Yeah.
you got? Da da da. And I was gonna give my opinion because
Yeah.
that's why it's called opinionated facts. Okay. Bruh left, never came
We're
back.
back now,
He just
baby. We back.
he said, hey bro, I'm going to the store, and he never came back with the groceries. God damn it.
We're back now. We're
and I
here.
and so I had to pivot, but it turned into this, and you know what I'm saying, there is no mistake. It's just it is what it is, and now we got this whole platform, we got the whole thing. So like I said, I'm glad to be here with my dog again. Glad to be, him living his purpose, walking his dream, and what's the word, insinuating on what he wants to do and where he wants to be in life. So like I said, bro, I appreciate you for letting me pull up, and it's been another dope episode of Opinionated Facts, and we out. Peace.
Peace.